The delightful profession of woodcraft. Welcome to the forest's most satisfying and most productive cottage industry. I like, you know how I make fun of what people say on this? I like that it's most satisfying and most productive. I just think that's good writing. Beginning with a few pieces of lumber, you will create furniture, musical instruments, and other household items as practical as they are beautiful. Are there any limits to the wonders of wood? It can be cut to any shape. It can be stacked and glued to any thickness. It is satisfying to the touch, pleasing to the eye, and intriguing to the nose. This is the greatest blurb. You can find it readily available for barter or sale. You can even grow your own. How lucky we are to work with such a versatile material. Barter for wood. And how lucky we are to live in a land where our labors are rewarded. As you progress in your craft, you will be able to improve your workshop, acquire new tools, and enlist the help of others. Bring it home. With diligence, patience, and attention to detail, your business will grow and prosper. Your many creations will be enjoyed by your delighted customers, and your reputation will grow as strong as the stoutest tree in the forest.
Man, you read the whole thing, huh?
Well, it was one of the better flavor texts I think I've seen as a blurb for a game.
Today on the board, boys.
Woodcraft. The craft of wood.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Board Boys Podcast, Season 12, Episode 1.
Yes. And
hopefully it's better than the original Episode 1 from Star Wars.
The original Episode 1 of Star Wars.
I saw that my senior year of high school.
Yeah. I saw that. Wait, you saw this? That was Episode 1 was the fourth one. I was thinking of Episode 4.
I wasn't born during Episode 1.
I was like, you didn't see A New Hope until you were, because it was just called Star Wars when it came out, right? But
I think it was A New Hope.
Yeah, on the crawl though.
No, I think it was just called Star Wars.
It said Episode 4.
George Lucas didn't he just call Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones was called Raiders of the Lost Ark?
It was Star Wars: A New Hope.
It was the original name was Star Wars: A New Hope, and not just Star Wars.
Correct.
I think I want to challenge that.
Challenge it, dude.
I'm not gonna challenge it right now.
Why don't you challenge my favorite IP and see if you could come at me?
That's just a legend I'd heard. So if you're telling me it's wrong, I hope you're right.
The Return of the Jedi was originally called The Revenge of the Jedi, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, there was an alternative tagline for that.
They should have just called it Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Jedi.
But
wasn't Luke Skywalker's name Starkiller originally too?
Yes.
That's cool.
Luke Starkiller. Speaking of Luke Starkiller, this is Board Boy Rob.
Board Boy TK.
And this is Board Boy Big Wood Boinker McDoinker, a.k.a. Party Cam, a.k.a. DJ Steve Cam.
Man, we're getting really bad at doing introductions at the beginning of the cast now.
Yeah. I just have to take all that time to charge mine up.
Charge it
It's
up.
my special move.
So, if we're keeping the Star Wars stuff in, I looked it up on the Google.
Yeah.
When it hit theaters in 1977.
Yeah.
It was called Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Just Star Wars.
Well, that's fine. It's still called A New Hope.
No, I know it's called A New Hope. I was asking, my question was it originally just called Star Wars? And apparently it was.
Well, right. It was called Star Wars: A New Hope.
No, it was just Star Wars.
And then they changed the name to New Hope when Empire Strikes Back
I believe
came out,
the crawl was A New Hope.
Yeah, it still said A New Hope in the
But
crawl,
when
right?
it came out on theaters and the posters would just be Star
yeah.
Wars. Yeah.
No, I don't disagree with that. But like, they didn't just create this A New Hope thing later down the road.
No, I think the first opening crawl says New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Okay, so you're right.
You're right.
You're actually right about the vibe. I was just right about the trivia. Like if I would have got the Trivial Pursuit card correct.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Just because it's all like that on the
We should make our own
poster.
Trivial Pursuit game with
Board
just
Boys.
our answers.
Board Boys Trivial Pursuit.
That would be a good game. Is if there was like a talk show or something where I don't know if people were big like Regis and Kathy fans or like Smothers Brothers or like a trivia game where you have to answer what what both of the hosts think the answer is, and then you get it right, and then you get
So
a third point if you know
Kind
the actual
of like
answer.
that game where your spouse writes down the answer. And then
Yeah,
you
it's
have
like the
to,
Newlywed Game.
Yeah.
That's actually, you know what, they already have it, and they did it better than my thought,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm not a game designer.
Yeah, it happens.
Man, Tim, you owned me.
I mean, I did back you up on the Star Wars thing.
You
though.
did.
Tim's out here dropping knowledge.
Yeah, he got us.
All right, let's talk about some games we've been playing. I've got a little bit of a list today, so I'm going to try to keep them brief because a lot of them are small, but I want to just mention them.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. You know what? Do you guys want me to go from big to small or from small to big?
Small to big. It's like
Yeah,
each
small to big. Yeah,
present
that's
keeps
good.
getting
Yeah.
better. That's how you open your Christmas presents, right?
You go, okay.
I mean, I do the opposite, but go ahead.
All right. I'm going to start off with a couple of real small ones that we've been taking to restaurants lately, and it's Pass the Pigs.
I love Pass the Pigs, dude.
Like that's the game from forever ago, right?
Yeah. I mean,
love it.
I first played this game. I was in college by the time I'd played it, and I actually played it on a dive boat in Australia that some person from Europe that was on there brought it. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'd never heard of it before. And I actually bought my copy in Australia, like in a toy store while I was there. Bo and I had to mark new dots on the pigs because they're falling off.
oh, because you rolled those pigs so hard and the dots fell.
You
I'll
got
tell
the
you
you got the
what.
leaner, you got the snouter, you got the leaning jowler, you got the razorback. The pigs can do it all.
It's great.
You can oink them out. I mean, it's only a 5.4 on BGG. These people are like fun haters because who doesn't want to roll a couple of plastic pigs and press your luck?
Well, and so here's how I feel. The pigs, like the original pigs, if you get like a nice set of Pass the Pigs, they roll so awesome. They bounce all around.
Yeah.
And like you shake the cup up and you say like sweet little things to the pigs so they don't do a pig out on you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I love you guys.
Or
And you roll. It's kind of like Can't Stop, you know?
or if they land on top of each other, it's called making bacon, and I've never seen that actually happen.
Well, if they're touching each other, you lose all your points.
Yeah, that's a pig out. But if you
No.
stack them on
If
each
you
other,
roll them wrong, then that's a pig out, and you lose your turn. If they're touching each other, it's making bacon. But the worst
not
thing,
in my
the
version.
worst thing that can happen is if one lands standing on top of the other one, you lose the game. You're out of the game.
Yeah,
I think it's just a joke, and I don't think it can actually happen.
Yeah. In my copy, that's called making bacon.
Yeah.
And pig out is just when they're touching.
Yep.
Okay, so my copy of Pass the Pigs from my family actually was called Pig Mania
Yeah.
originally.
That's
Oh,
the one I
really?
have, Yeah.
Yeah, Pig Mania is sick, and it has got all these little pig comics and like pig jokes on the back of the. It's from it's also Star Wars era, like 1977 probably.
Nice.
I've been rolling pigs for 38 years, baby.
Yeah, I mean that's a game I wish I had when I was a kid, and I knew nothing about it.
It's
I
so fun.
still have it from when I
Yeah.
was a kid.
Nice.
Do you still play?
No, I should.
I was
I
thinking.
bet
About,
Remy would love
I
it.
would. I'm gonna go get it.
I was thinking
tomorrow.
about alternate rules
Yeah.
I would dry it out. I know exactly where it's at.
to make the game more fun. And here's my alternate rules. Okay. Because the game can last a really long time if people are like you set a score arbitrarily. What I think would be good fun rules for Pig Mania or Pass the Pigs is if you just played 10 turns and you get your total score at the end, but you also get a few points bonus for having the best score of each round, and that is an incremental increase. So it's like 10, 20, 30, 50, and there's like a ton of points at the end. But you also get like a 200-point bonus if you write points on the board all 10 turns.
I think
And that'd make it a little bit more of a
I think
game.
my copy just says you play to 100, and if somebody hits 100, then everyone gets like one more shot to try to beat them.
That's the way I play when we play is once somebody breaks the threshold, you keep going around the table, and everybody who makes a higher score than that gets to keep going, like until only one person is like remain. So like if I make
get ya.
120, the next person's at 80, but they get to 130, then they're still good. The next person doesn't make it, then you get to roll higher than
And
130.
that might be the actual rules, but
I don't think it is. I just like it that way. It's more intense. It's can't stoppy. Everything
Sure.
can't stop.
the other one is, which is not like Can't Stop, is Tinder Blocks, which I've talked about before. But this one was the demo of the week at Dungeons Gate a few weeks ago. This thing, And I think like they sold out of it. Like they had to get a different demo of the week because they sold all their copies
That's
like in the
funny.
first
That's
2
funny.
days.
Hasn't that game been out a while? Because I feel like I
Yeah.
played it with
It
you
has,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2020. I mean, it's under $15, I think, and it's in a little tin. You play right out of the tin. You use tweezers, which ours broke the other day, but I found they're on a 3D printing site. Someone has the 3D print for it out there, so I'm gonna go print some new tweezers and try to get that figured out. But I mean, you could probably just grab any kind of tweezers, but there's these little plastic ones. And you just flip over a card, and some of them like make you do it with your non-dominant hand, and you got to stack the things up, and you're just making a little campfire. Super fast, super quick, super tiny dexterity game. Tinder blocks rules.
Tinder blocks.
Yeah, and it's a great little travel game.
You know what? That when you make a little fire, that would be like a really big, nice bonfire to cook the pasta pigs on.
Also, you know what? The designer's Rob Sparks, artist is Rory Muldoon, and publisher Alley Cat Games.
Alley Cat Games.
The throwback from last week with
They
Autobahn.
make Dice Hospital.
and Dice Hospital and Dice Theme
Best
Park.
game of all time.
I think that just means you have to give it a 4 boing.
You know what? I reserve my 4 boing. It's going to be hard to do better than Can't Stop, TI4, Dice Hospital, Castles of Burgundy, Barrage, and Time's Up. But I need to find a game I like more than all those games to 4 boing something.
Yeah, because you've already reviewed all of those.
Well, I haven't technically
No,
reviewed
Can't Stop.
Can't Stop or Time's Up.
So, theme of season 12. 12 episodes of Can't Stop.
12 episodes of Can't Stop, baby. I went on a huge run the other day.
Moving up, Tranquility's also from 2020. It's 1 to 5 players. James Emerson's the designer. Tristram Rawson is the artist. Board Game Hub is the publisher. I snagged this at Dungeons Gate the other day when I was in there because it's a little tiny box, and I don't know, the art looked cool. It's like a square cube, and it's Lucky Duck Games must like publish it for the United States because I saw that logo on there, and I'm like, I like Lucky Duck Games. And this is like, if you ever played The Mind, it's like Spatial The Mind. It's a cooperative game. You have a 6x6 grid you're filling out. The cards are 1 to 80. And you're not supposed to discuss what you have in your hand or what you're playing. And whenever you play a card on the board, it can be anywhere on the board. But if you ever play a card next to another card, you have to discard the number of cards that's different. So if I play 43 next to a 41, I discard 2 cards. And you only have a 5-card hand. So you can only ever have a gap of 4 between any numbers. And if you can fill the grid up and have a start and the finish card on the board, you win. And the first time we played it, we got rocked. And the second time we played it, we won. I'll tell you the difference between that was game 1, Bo was playing, and game 2, Bo was in bed. So that was the difference
The kid
in that
factor
one.
kind of sealed the.
But he was enjoying it. But there's like some little expansion-y things in there that I think they say like once you get good at it, like add these things in to make it more difficult. So it's one of those ones where we wanted to play it a few times in a row, and I would definitely recommend it. It's if you like The Mind and you want something a little gamier, it's pretty good. It plays 1 to 5. The rest of my list, everyone else has played.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about it.
I feel like let's go into Beer and Bread.
I haven't played that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody else does it.
Everyone else at the table has played Beer and
Everybody
Bread.
cool except for Cam has
Yeah.
played Beer and Bread.
Beer and Bread is by Scott Alms. Michael Menzel's the artist. Deep Print Games is the publisher, which is like the small little imprint off of who does Arc Nova? I can't think of the name of them. Anyway, they're the same ones that did Juicy Fruits, I believe.
Yeah, it's on the-
Capstone Games, I think. It's like a offshoot of Therm.
There.
Beer and Bread is a 2-player game. Basically, it's 6 rounds. You have a deck of cards and some resources, and the deck of cards has beer cards and bread cards, and they all have 3 ways that you can play them. You can play them to get the stuff. You can spend the stuff to play the card and get the points, or you can play the card for the bottom ongoing ability at the bottom of the deal. The thing is, you can only have 1 completed bread, 1 completed beer at a time. So to clear those off the board, you have to do one of the upgrades on the upgrade slot to get rid of them. And The real hard part about this game is you have a limited number of spots to hold stuff.
Storage
Yeah,
bin.
and in there's 2 different rounds, and you alternate between them. There's like a fruitful round and a dry round. And in the fruitful round, you pick a card, you do the action, you pass the hand to the other person. And then in the dry round, you pick up all the cards that you planted that time, and you add cards to your hand until you get to 5, and then you get to play all of those, and you don't trade. And it's really hard in the trading round to remember what the heck you gave the other person and what they're going to play on the board and what you're actually going to get back.
And then remembering the ones that you play out to harvest, you're going to get back in the dry round,
Yeah.
and you could use those to.
I think I enjoyed it more on my second play, but I'm still not sure this one's for me. I'm not a huge multi-use card guy, and it just seems like there's so many times where you're just playing cards and you can't do anything with it, or you end up getting like way too many resources. I don't know. I'm not sure that Beer and Bread is totally for me. It's probably like a 1.5 boinger.
Yeah,
At this point, there's other 2-player games I'd rather play.
Yeah, I think there could be room to get better in there if you got a little better. Like
Probably.
if it starts to kind of connect together in your brain, I think it could go up definitely go up on my list for sure. What's next?
Let's talk about Ahoy.
Ahoy.
Because we haven't talked about Ahoy yet, right?
We've all played it.
And
We
we've
have not
all
talked about it
played
I
Ahoy.
have played Ahoy.
Okay.
You're not going to cut me out of this one.
Ahoy is 2 to 4 players.
I'm just going to turn Cam's mic
Hey,
off.
guess what? They
Aw,
say
man.
best at 3, which is
I
all
would agree with that, yeah.
I've ever played it at.
Hey.
Designer is Greg Loring Albright. Kyle Farron is the artist, aka Root Mania Man, and the publisher is Leader Games. Ahoy is, surprise, surprise, an asymmetrical game because it's from Leader Games, and that's what they do. There's 3 different factions. If you play with 4 players, there's 2 of the same. There's 2 smugglers. So, and the other 2 factions, one's like a shark faction, and one's like a squid.
They're mollusk kind of
yeah.
deal. Yeah.
The sharks and the mollusks are both trying to play an area control game, and the smugglers are doing a pick up and deliver game, and they are making the different parts of the board juicier every time they deliver something for the area control people. If you like Root, you like asymmetrical stuff, it's not exactly like Root. It's lighter than Root. It has some area control. I think the Smuggler is fun to play. That's the only guy I've played actually so far because I've been trying to get better at it. Haven't seen the Smuggler win yet. I think this is one that you could teach to a ton of people though, and the game's short. It's less than an hour. The pieces are nice. The art's cool. I took a flyer on it. I've been pretty happy with it so far. It's a nice little, we got an hour to play game. Let's bust that out. And teaching it is, you could teach it in under 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
In there, I think.
It's fun, easy to understand. The exploration is fun. Asymmetric factions is fun. Who won the second game? What faction?
The Sharks.
Okay, right on.
Right? Jared won?
No, I
You
got
won?
him. I got him, dude.
Oh, the Mollusks won.
Mollusks
So if the Mollusks won
Brought it
every game
down,
then?
baby.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we haven't seen anybody else win besides the Mollusks. I'm not sure how it would play at 4, having that second person in there that's also doing pick up and deliver. I'd be interested to see.
There's not a lot of cards in the deck, so having 2 people picking up and delivering cards.
Well, you take some out.
Yeah, not that many. 6.
Not
right?
that many,
Yeah.
but like in our last game though, we did not burn through the
Oh, right,
cards
okay.
near the way we burned through them the other way. The delivery person has to play an especially good game, I think, to win that one, especially messing with their little. The cool thing they have is when they get a reward for delivering or for fighting, and I think they need to do more fighting than I usually do, because as a reward for winning a fight, you can move those little tokens, and it's a little thing where you move a little. It's like a 5x5 grid, and you move your token and you get a thing, and this little token follows behind it, so you can't just bounce back and forth between the same reward, and I think that's really neat.
The mollusks feel a lot like I want to say like maybe Woodland Lions, maybe Vagabond, where you have to deal with them, and if you don't deal with them, they grow exponentially as the game goes on. That's how I felt, at least in the couple games. Like
I'm
the
not
one
sure.
and a half
I
game
kind of
played.
felt like the Sharks grew like kind of crazy by the end of the game, and like I always felt just straight good as the mollusks, and then I felt like Jared could like rock me better, like at the end of the game. But maybe that's just because he got a lot more aggressive like halfway through the game.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of way to go with some of the factions with what you can do. I like how they all have different boards, different actions. You use dice to do your actions, and some of the dice slots require certain pip values. I would give it a 2 boing, and I think it could only go up from there
I agree with
probably. Sorry, I'm going to start giving boing ratings to
Do it.
my beginning games. Creature Comforts. It's a new season, baby.
Yeah.
It is a new season.
New season.
New year. Got
yeah.
a new change of gear. I swear. I can see clear now that clouds disappeared. Did I say that in the last podcast too?
I don't think
Nope.
so. Has anybody else played Creature Comforts?
Nope.
No.
Oh, sorry. The designers Roberta Taylor, Shauna J.C. Tenney's the artist, and Kids Table Board Games is the publisher. I know Jake's talked about it already. I like it less than he did. I played it with Amy. She didn't really jazz on it either. Something about like having to roll the dice to match to then. So you simultaneously place your workers on the board, then you roll the dice, and then depending on the worker placement spots, the dice have to be certain things, and sometimes they just don't work. And then if they don't work, you get little dice that give you plus or minus for the next time. I don't know. Like, I'd rather just play a worker placement game. I don't
Right.
need like the dice section. For reference, we played Flamecraft. I don't think I talked about playing Flamecraft with Amy, and she really likes Flamecraft. It's cute. Art's cute. The gameplay's fun. And I mean, they're both like cute animal resource worker placement type games, right? And like, we had a friend, our neighbor over, and I was like, "Do you want to try to play Creature Comforts again and give it another shot?" And they're like, "No, we want to play Flamecraft." So,
Okay.
for games that have come out recently, like, I mean, they're not that similar of a
Right.
game, right? But they're the same kind of weight, I think.
They would fit the same space of a group gathering.
I
right?
I
Yeah.
think so, and I think Flamecraft just beats it.
Yep.
As far as a game that fits that weight, fits that niche, and it came out around the same time.
Yep.
Last one. Sorry for all the games, but Sabika
good.
is a game we played on
Didn't
Tuesday.
Rob said we'd all play? Oh, you played Sabika.
Well, there's
I-
a few of them where multiple of us had played it.
Yeah.
But,
I guess I just haven't played games in a while.
it is by Jermaine P. Milan. Laura Bevon is the artist, and it's by Ludinova. If you remember Jermaine P. Milan, he is the Batoku designer, and you know how much we love Batoku. I think we like Sabika at least as much as Batoku.
At least as much, yeah.
I'm not going to do a big deep dive here because it's probably getting its own episode. I think it will get its own episode.
100%.
Yeah. But basically, there's a rondel. You're building the Alhambra, and you're also doing some delivering and trading and things. And you have 4 different workers. 2 of them are the same, and they travel around the outside and build stuff. The middle is about exploration, and the inside is about doing poety things and scribing these poetry things in your walls of the Alhambra. And those are basically just either ongoing abilities or instant effects. And delivering will also give you ongoing abilities or instant effects. And you can build buildings which give you stuff. And the biggest way you score points is by dumping extra resources into the buildings you're playing and getting those. It's 5 rounds. Just like Batoku, it looks insane. It's got the board is not nearly as busy, but the gameplay is pretty smooth. And the only thing I think we really didn't like, at least on our first play, was all the poet cards have a lot of words on them, and the icons are kind of hard to tell what they are. So you kind of got to like look through the poetry cards. But other than that, the iconography is great. I'm really looking forward to playing that one more.
Me too, yeah. And the board is very big, so seeing the cards from the other side of the board
Yeah.
was a little hard.
Yeah, they made the board giant
Yeah.
because everything, like, it's one of those games where the board's giant because they have a place for everything on
yeah.
the board instead of having like a smaller board and like having your piles and things off to the side.
Yeah. So sometimes you just have to stand up and
Stand up.
go find that.
Stand up, walk around the table, take a look.
All right. That was from low to high, guys.
All right, Cam, what about you? Anything you played?
Oh man, I honestly don't really think I've played anything new to me since our last podcast. I guess
Mysterium, bro. Talk about Mysterium.
Oh, I did. I have never. I've played all of those other Dixit likes several times. I don't think I've ever actually played Mysterium before. So, I think Dixit kind of sucks. I'll play it. I like those games where it's like try to trick. You know what? I like Dixit a lot better than like an apples to apples type game where it's just choose the favorite one. Dixit's less subjective than that, But Dixit to me is kind of like the Codenames pictures of uh, Balderdash, and I'd rather, I think, just try to trick people with like definitions and words and stuff, because I think that's way less like it's a way better thing. I do like the use of the cards to guide people in the other ones I've played. Stella, I think, is the new one, is what it's called, where you're trying to all find cards that have like something in common with the other players. I like Obscurio, where you're trying to like make a clue for the other teammates and somebody messes with it. I thought this was cool. In Mysterium, you have like every player except for the clue giver has their own group of clues to find. And then if everybody finds other clues by the end of the game, then they can all work together to try to like point out like the big bad. But the players that didn't do well finding their clues get less information at the end. I really had a fun time. I think it's set up super well. The only issue with the game is the deck is not that big, and you have to give out clues to every player every turn.
So you start running out of clues.
You start running out. Like, you can get the cards back, but we were playing with the full player group, which was 6 players and a ghost. I was the ghost, and one of the things that kind of rocked the game for me a little bit was having to come up with a like specific set of clues to give the players every time. It was kind of interesting because it started getting harder and harder to give clues, because the stuff you have to clue them in on like becomes more like, you start by trying to get people to give clues for like the suspect. So you have this big set of suspects, and one's like a nasty looking old lady with like knitting needles and yarn, and like there's all sorts of stuff around the pictures like showing kind of what they are and what they do. So there's all sorts of different ideas you can give people. Then it goes to locations, which are a little trickier. Then it goes to objects, which got really tricky. I don't know, I had a good time. I like a cooperative game where that can't be quarterbacked, and that's very much that. I mean, like, somebody could strong arm and be like, "No, bro, I don't think that you made the right guess on your own guy." But you're supposed to also get points by guessing whether or not like the other players are guessing correctly. So I don't know, it's a cool part of the game.
Yeah, they really gamified the American version of that. The original one was from Poland, I think, and they changed a lot of it when they printed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like the biggest game of BGG Con that year. It was like called Domino. I don't know. Then they changed the name to Mysterium.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so it was like less. Was it just more?
The end was less gamey. I don't know how it played exactly, but the original version was not like the Mysterium version. I don't remember exactly how it ended. My favorite Mysterium moment that I can think of is I was playing it with John at Arkham Games one time, and I kept giving him cards that had like a bear on it, but the bear didn't have any, or it had something on it that I kept missing that was on it, and so like all these clues led to like this one thing that wasn't the thing I was trying to like point to. I'm not a very good ghost.
I felt like I did a really good job ghosting. The problem was, like, the ghost is not allowed to talk, and so like there was no way for me to delineate whether clues were like literal or based on like the vibe, or if I'm just ditching 5 cards to somebody because they're ahead of everybody else and I need to draw new cards. So
right,
yeah.
I got one game of Mysterium, and it was quite a while ago, and bounced off pretty hard. Maybe it was because the ghost wasn't. It was like everybody's first time playing it, so maybe that was it. I assume you need someone to kind of lead you through
a guide,
the path.
I think.
Yeah.
And this is your copy of this game?
No, it was just there, and we played it. So it was a couple of buddies of mine came by, and they're not like crunchy gamers. And then,
yeah, I thought you just had brought some games to play, or was that one off the shelf?
I had brought some games to play, but I didn't bring anything cooperative, and it turned out that one of them really likes cooperative games, doesn't really like competing. And we had like 7 people looking for a game, and one of them wanted to play Mysterium anyway. So we all just played Mysterium. And it turned out when we sat down to play it, I was like, okay, so who's teaching? And everybody was like, I have never played. I've played it once, So I just cracked the rule book, and I was like, all right, I'm the ghost. And I ghosted. I did a lot of knocking to show if it was yes or no.
So was it a Dungeons Gate demo then? Or off the shelf?
I think it was
Or
on
somebody
the, I
brought
think it was
it?
on the shelf. I don't think somebody brought it. Very
Gotcha.
fun. I would say my favorite of the Dixit picture series is, I think it's called Stella. It's the new one.
Stella!
Stella! And I just like it because my dig on Mysterium was making that many clues drug the game out. Stella's awesome because you just lay a grid of cards out and then you go, okay, which cards do you think are brave? And everybody like chooses, there's 12 cards I think, and you can choose 1 to 12 cards. And then you go around and you point out one of the ones you chose until you're done. And then basically, if you match when you choose, you get like a point. You get a point for everyone that matches you when it's not your turn. And if you get all matched all the way through, you get all your points. If you match all the way through and do the most, you get like more points. But if you don't match one of them and you didn't guess the most, you get like you lose a couple points, I think. And then if you did the most and don't match all yours, then you lose a ton of points. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, if you like that kind of game, check out Similo.
Oh, Similo's great.
For a super short, abbreviated version of that game. Also great for travel and just take with you.
You know what? And I haven't been so nice to Dixit. I like Dixit.
All right, Tim, how about you?
I think I just have one that we haven't talked about before. It's been a couple weeks, but I got to play Imperial Spell and Steam, which is by it's level 99 games. Designer is Trey Chambers. It is a cube rails game. Cube rails? Cube
You're
rails?
not a Rails guy, right?
I am not really a Rails guy. But in a fantasy world where you give your trains spells and abilities, I think. So
that sounds tight.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Kind of a rondel where you have your worker and you kind of move along your personal board to show you what places you can add your trains to, and then you're trying to score, basically deliver, I don't know, goods to a color, and that will score you points for the end of the game. There's some end game scoring cards and stuff like that too. But you're basically building a kind of, I don't know, train of superpowers, and it was the okayest Cube Rails game. It is a giant box and a super Kickstarter. It's one entire
When you say
calyx.
it's the okayest Cube Rails
Yeah,
game,
I mean, it was fine.
what other Cube Rails game would you put next to that?
I mean, Irish Gauge would be like,
That's the one you like?
it's fine. I mean, they're all fine. Like, it's just I don't know why. Like, I don't know why you would go buy $100 Imperial Spell on Steam or go buy a $30 Irish Gauge. I think they're almost the exact same. If that makes sense.
Well,
I liked Irish Gauge the time I
can you
played it.
cast spells on your trains in Irish Gauge?
You can't, but it also plays in half the time and takes up a quarter of the room and probably is a lot easier to get to the table.
Well, I think that certain people who play the kind of stuff that does take up the room
Yeah.
and takes like 3 times the amount of time, like it's like somebody asking you and me, like, well, why don't you guys play Wormholes instead of TI4?
Yeah, that might be true. That is a very good point. I think maybe on a second play I'd probably like it a little bit more, but it just it was interesting. It was weird. It felt like it wasn't like fully connected between the theme and the.
Well, you can't win them all with those games, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they just keep writing the same one.
Sounds
kinda.
like a 1.5.
About a 1.5.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else before we get into the main dish?
I'm ready for the main dish, I think.
How about the delicious dish?
Hang on, is there anything that I really want to talk about that I've been playing on BGA? I don't think so. For the first time, I haven't played anything new on BGA in a little while either.
I mean, you're playing one new thing on BGA because it's Anachrony
Yeah.
and it's new.
Again, I don't think we're supposed to publicize that, but I was going to...
It's already on BGG, bro.
Oh, it's already on BGG? Okay,
Yeah.
well, then who cares?
There's
yeah.
already a forum about it.
Anachrony's in alpha. That's extremely exciting.
It was in public alpha, at least for a while or something. That's why people know about it.
Oh, yeah, they did make it public for a minute. I think it was an accident. Or maybe it's back in public alpha. I don't know.
Don't know. That's I saw it on there. Anyway, that's kind of cool that Anachrony's on there. Too bad it's not Tricurion.
I wish it was Tricurion.
But, you know,
Tricurion is tight.
you can't win them all.
I mean, you can.
All right. Well, all I can think of when I think of delicious dish is like the Alec Baldwin and the Betty White, like the sweaty balls.
Yeah.
And I think Betty White had like a moist muffin or something like that.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, I know maybe that's what you think is funny, but I think that Molly Shannon and Anna Gasteyer are super funny in that. The way they sound just like I had so many friends that did like college radio shows, and they had just like no personality. And
Oh no, that's what's the funniest part is just because they talk like this, and it's
so
it's very
yeah,
we're gonna do this.
so funny.
So
my
today on the podcast we talked about woodcraft. I'll do my normal voice now.
I like that. That game is neat.
So woodcraft is by Ross Arnold and Vladimir Suhi, artist Mikhail Pekal, publisher Delicious Games.
Vladimir, I didn't know Vladimir had a homeboy helping him on this one.
Yeah, this is his second one in a row.
Messina's also Ross Arnold?
No, Messina was, I don't remember the designer, but it was a co-design with
Jim Messina and Kenny Loggins.
Aparccio?
yeah.
Raul Aparccio.
So I think both of those games, I think they came to him and were like, hey, I've got a game, and he like co-developed it kind of. I heard an interview, and Ross Arnold actually came up with the idea of woodcraft and brought it to Vladimir, and I think like they flushed it out like completely and then published it because it's his company, Delicious Games, that does it. And then they brought it over here. Rio Grande always brings their stuff over, so you can get it here in the States now from Rio Grande. Anyway, woodcraft is 1 to 4 players, best at 3, it says, 60 to 120 minutes, 12 plus is the age, weight 3.84 out of 5. We already did the designer, artist, and publisher. I think that's all the stats. Campbell, where does woodcraft rank in the BGG top 2,000? Because that's where it is.
I'm going to say 1,567.
You didn't even go with 69, huh?
I've grown.
Well, what was the rating again?
It's a 7.9
7.9
with 1,500 ratings currently.
All right. Let's go 732.
Well, in this game where you grow trees, gather wood and other materials, craft items, and build the best workshop, it is 1,075. 529 strategy. I'd like to say, spoiler alert, probably going to bump.
Yeah, bump.
Hardcore. Tim, do you want to give us what you do in good old woodcraft?
Sure. So in woodcraft, you are taking one of 7 actions. 7 actions on a, I guess it's a wood saw, right? The action selection board, where when you take an action, depending on in what quarter it is, you can get a bonus for doing that, which is an interesting mechanic there. In taking those actions, you are doing things like planting, wood scraps into pots for your trees. So you're planting trees. You are.
Did you mention it's magical wood?
It is.
Yeah, it's a magical world where you can plant a 2x4
just so you guys know,
in a
the
pot.
reason you're planting scraps of wood that turn into trees is because the wood's magic. Just thought I should mention that, otherwise you guys would be like, you can't do that.
Man, I do that all the time with my green treated lumber.
This game is so unrealistic.
Yeah, so you're buying and selling wood to a market. You're getting things
Sounds like you're bartering it too, according to
scrap wood. You buy scrap wood, saws, glue. You are hiring helpers. You are upgrading your workshop, and then probably the biggest part of the game is that you are getting contracts and fulfilling them with your wood. And the wood in this game is using dice.
Yes.
And at the very end of your turn, and you will probably forget, you can market to the people for some blueberries, and that's the whole turn. We do 13, 14 rounds depending on how many players. And
the points are on the wood.
The points are on the wood.
All right. Well, let's get to the table and come back with our thoughts on Woody the Woodpecker Craft.
If I had a hammer, I'd a hammer in the morning, I'd a hammer in the evening, over this land. I'd a hammer out danger, I'd a hammer out warning, I'd a hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters. Oh,
We're back. Woodcraft. Initial thoughts. Cam, Jam, Slam, the man.
Yeah, that's your boy. I have not played Woodcraft for a minute, so I'm trying to think of what was originally really captivating to me about this game. As soon as I knew Suchi was doing another one, and it was about whacking pieces of wood together and having them magically grow and gluing and cutting wood.
Yeah, remember when I messaged you about it?
And you were like, the dice or the wood, and you cut the wood into more wood. I was like, sign me up, baby. That sounds that sounds great. I've only had an opportunity to play this game once, so I don't feel like I have the authority on being like too particular about any of the systems in it today, but there was a super fun play. I really think that Suchi, and I say it every time about Suchi, is a guy who doesn't stick with the conventions of his previous games and was always trying to do something new. This one has a little taste of Praga Kaput Regni with the rondel action selection, but other than that, like the gameplay is super different from. I can't think of too many Suchi games where you're like completing orders. This is kind of his order fulfillment game, and like there's aspects of what's the one, the space one, Pulsar, that's kind of like that. But other than that, this is kind of a new idea. I like there's a lot of games where you can kind of like at the end of the round get rid of something to get points, and it like incremental and it goes up from there. And I always like that system in a game because like what's the At the Gates of Loyang by Uwe. There's other games where it's like at the end of each round you can give away a thing, and so I'm getting into prose away from opening thoughts, but I was excited for a new thing. I found a bunch of exciting new things, and Suchi did them really well. So, I don't know. I didn't expect not to like this one, and my expectations were met. I stated positively, I expected to like this one, and I did.
Nice. Yeah. So, first impressions for me, the art is I like the art. It's very good. It's again, kind of a little bit of fantasy woodcraft area. I don't know, wood shop stuff. It looks very nice. The pieces are nice, and the gameplay is super tight and very thinky and very fulfilling. So my first play was wonderful. So, Rob, how about you?
Yeah, Woodcraft, I think when I first saw it, I'm like, sweet, new game by Suchi. And Ross Arnold, of course. I think this is his first design. But this is like the best production by any Delicious game so far, I think. As far as like the art goes, the box looks nice. Everything about it just looks good. You know what? We're just jumping into pros.
Yeah, let's do it.
My initial thoughts of this game were great, and they continue to be great. The dice are nice, like light wood dice too, which they're good. I mean, I don't know what makes sense that they're wood, I guess.
Yeah, the feeling and the shape of them fits the theme of the game.
Don't forget they
Yeah.
talk about the aroma of wood. Did you guys smell the dice before you rolled them every time?
Gotta smell them
Of
good.
course.
You don't
100%.
you don't roll any dice in this game, do you? I haven't played in
No.
a little bit.
You roll for the market.
That's it,
Whenever
yeah.
you put them in the market. But
They're a little
that's it.
Teotihuacani. They just kind of go up and down.
Yeah.
They do.
Totally pipped out.
The
Dice hospital-y dice. You roll them at the beginning and then you pip them up and down.
the number one pro for me is just the action selection wheel. He took what was happening in Praga and made it better. There's more cool stuff with it. The actions that stay there and linger longer become better because they get juiced up with some extra bonuses with that inside wheel that's cut out. There's some extra printed bonuses there. And then the longer if they get stacked up in a certain quadrant, the bonuses just get better from there as well. And then he's got his nugget lantern system there. The nugget in this game is the lantern,
Yeah, the
Where-
appropriate nugget.
where you can use a lantern to take one of the action selection tokens off the board and get the bonuses associated with it, but completely do a different action. So like if a action's just been sitting out there for a long time and nobody wants to do it, it's going to be really juicy for the extra stuff. And if you could just spend a lantern, you can get the juicy stuff that goes with it, but then do a different action, and then you still move that
Yeah.
token forward. Or 3 lanterns gives you a nugget turn, which is that extra juicy turn that he loves to put in his games too.
So it's
where
like
you just-
having 2 gold windows.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
and
what it
Do
is.
you know,
Praga.
and
Yeah.
so do you really? So I don't think I ever would have reached a day where I heard Rob disparage the peanuts in favor of a different system. So you think this rondel is better than the peanut rondel of Praga?
It's way more compelling.
Yeah, I think so. I like the bonus structure. I like how they stack up.
And
Yeah, everything about it is good. I mean,
I've only played it once. I was more excited about it, so I agree.
The Praga wheel's not bad
I
or
haven't
anything.
played Prague in a while, but it's mostly just points.
Yeah, it's just you
lose-
either have to spend gold.
Yeah.
The Praga wheel is just like if you take one that somebody did recently, you got to spend money, and if you take one that somebody didn't, you get some points.
Yeah. So
And that's it. This one is like all kinds of juicy little
Yeah.
bonuses where sometimes you just need that extra little gas to get you to do something else. And that leads me to my next pro. You can get some really combo wombo turns that feel real good. Like I had one this game where I just was cranking up some tracks. This game's got tracks. I like that. It's got income track for money and for points. And then like 4 times during the game, those things pop off and you get some points and some money depending on how far you are up there. Because it's like, oh, I can get this thing to spend it here to turn the dice down, and that might be a con for some people, I guess, and it can make someone's turn go a little long, but there's definitely some turns that can stretch out in this. But when you do that, man, it feels good.
yeah, it feels really good.
I'll tell you what I like. I like any time in a Euro game where there's a bunch of different avenues of like ways to do things and things you can do. And in this one, you can upgrade your shop and get more people working in there. You can grow new types of trees. You can deal with like the roof of your house. You can pay money at the end of the turn or whatever it is, pay wood or something. I can't really remember. To get points. You can work on contracts. I don't love that in a game when there seems to be like one obvious thing you got to do for sure, and then you like don't even really get time to like mess with the other stuff. I love it when I feel like I didn't even play half of the game, but my score was as good, like, in everybody else's zone. So like Tekenu, I loved that in. I think even recently Toledo, I thought you could do that. Great Western Trail's a game where you can kind of go off into certain aspects of it, and I think it makes the game really fun when you can go like really do a different strategy every time. I feel like this is one where you could do that.
Yeah, I think you can too. I think in some instance though, you still kind of end up doing everything. I also feel like this game is going to be a little. Underwater Cities is a similar thing too, where there's a threshold. I think at a certain point, and in this game, there's a threshold, and Marco Polo does the same thing. It's like the first time I played this game, I scored like 50 some points. And I'm like, there's a 150 marker on here. I'm like, how do you do that?
It's
And
just to make fun of you.
But I doubled my score the next game. And there's definitely just some threshold where you just start getting some more stuff and you can do some more things. And that requires kind of bouncing into some different things, like getting some guys so maybe you can get some tools to get the right orders. And then
Russian Railroads is another
and
one.
then going up on the different track. I mean, everything is just so interconnected. You can find a way to bounce from one thing to kind of make everything good. I mean, you're still doing a couple of things like really hard. One thing I've never done, there's some scoring at the end of the game based on these little wreaths. And whenever you get that, you move up on this track on the board, and there's some different increments. And basically, I think the top one is 6. And then if you get to that and you get to multiply that by how many contracts you did in the game, I think you can score a ton of points. The thing is, you really have to focus hard on getting those wreaths. And I just noticed that this is probably my 5th or 6th play. I just noticed that the thing that unlocked the game for me was when I started being like, oh man, tools are great, which let's talk about tools quickly. There's a part on your board. It's like your attic of your workshop. And whenever you get a tool, and you can get it from a bunch of different places, mostly from like rewards on cards or from workers or moving up on certain tracks. you put a little tool up there. And then when you get another one, you put another tool up there. And if they're different, you get the bonus between them. And they go up on like a pyramid. So then on your third one, you could put that one on the top of the two that you got there, and you get two more bonuses.
Ooh.
And it just like waterfalls into all these bonuses and stuff you get. And you can get so much income and blueberries, which is money, and all this different stuff. But on those orders, none of those, like in Era 1, only one of those orders has a wreath component, which moves you up on the
A
end game
wreath
scoring.
and a tool.
Yeah, a wreath and a tool. And then Era 2 had some more, like a few. But so
It
it's
was never 3 wreaths. It's
yeah,
always
so
just
since
like
I was
one.
focusing hard on tools, the only wreath points I got was from my tools, like in the pyramid. And like almost all of my things were just getting tools. I wanted to get a bunch of them. So those seem to be a little bit mutually exclusive of, do you want to get a lot of tools or do you want to move up that wreath track? There's a little bit of overlap. And I think like the ultimate storm would be you kind of can do both of those things and then score a ton of points. But
I think I did a ton of wreaths the one time I played, and I didn't do any tools. And I had a pretty good score, but I did not win.
Yeah, the interesting thing about tools is I feel like some of the contracts that have tools have less blueberries and less points on them too. So you get like a
I was
tool,
definitely a big blue boy.
yeah, a tool and 6 blueberries instead of like 10 blueberries from a normal one in a wreath or two.
yeah, this is like the contracts vary so much. It's really interesting. And I guess let's talk about the contract system. When you get them, you put them on the side of your board, and they all have a label to start with where they start off. There's like 6 spots on the board. And it's like an extra thing you get. So if it has a wreath on it, it starts in the column with the wreaths. And if you do it that round, you get that wreath as a bonus, which gives you endgame stuff. But if at the end of the round you didn't complete it, that contract moves down. So not only do you want to look at the stuff you're getting because you completed the contract, you want to know what row that's going to start in, because that could be important. Like that's a big way to get a bunch of wreaths is by doing those and then completing them in time.
And if it drops, if you don't complete it enough, or it takes you too many rounds to, if you don't complete it, it drops off your board, it's -2 wreaths, which is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and I've seen like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone have a card fall off before. I think that'd be really hard to do. At the end of the game, you lose points if you have them
don't
there
complete 'em,
too.
yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen anybody have that happen to them either. Maybe once.
Yeah, I think one time.
Do you think it's the kind of thing where, like, the more you play the game, the more you're less afraid of it? Because, like, in all sorts of games where you get punished for not doing specific things, the first few times I play the game, I'm really afraid. Like, thinking about, like, Teotihuacan, because we're playing a game of it on BGA right now. I can't tell you the last time I fed all my guys all their food in a game of Teotihuacan. Like, I usually feed all of it, but sometimes near the end of the game, I'm just like, well, 10 points is better than, saving 3 points and getting 2 points. So
You're going hungry, buddy.
So do you think it's maybe one of those things where, like, the more you play it, you're like, oh, well, if I lose this, I can gain a lot more somewhere else?
I would think it's probably more in that the more you play it, the more you understand how many contracts you
So it's
can
more
actually
like Grand
get.
Austria Hotel, because
Yeah.
like I would never leave a dude hanging and lose 5 points in GAH if I could help it. And so maybe it's like that where
yeah,
you just
it
don't-
is. This is like, why would you ever go take an extra action to take a contract that you're not going to get to do?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's kind of the thing. And I also like how you start off with the 4 contracts and you play one out every income phase. I like all the different workers. You can like, everybody's workshop gets all asymmetrical because everyone can do different stuff, and just manipulating those dice is fun. I mean, you can glue them together, you can chunk wood onto them, you can cut them in half.
The workers that go in they have ongoing powers. So some of them can raise and lower the pips of your dice. Some of them have instant powers, which gives you a bonus upgrade, and then they all have a production on them.
Yep.
So when you hit a certain symbol, you can pick one of the workers and use their production, get a blueberry, get a dice, things like that. And then if you get enough workers, it'll pop off all 4 of them or all 6 of them, or you can do 2 or 3 at a time, depending on some of the contracts you fulfill. It's super cool. The dice manipulation is fantastic. Going from a 6 to a 4 and a 2, and then cutting your 2 into 2 1s to fulfill a contract, and then get another dice and sell it. It's so good. And then for me, the number of rounds I think is the most compelling part of the game, in that it's just so tight. You have 2-player game, it's 14 actions.
Yeah.
4-player games is 13.
Yep.
Like, it very much makes you focus on things that you have to do, and you still feel like you play. You get a lot of stuff done, but 13 turns and it's over, and that's it. That's all you get, and you might be able to squeeze out another action with 3 lanterns, and that's it.
Little squeaker.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it makes you really think and make sure that you're doing purposeful actions and not wasting them, even if there's something really juicy that has a bunch of bonuses that you probably don't need. And for
But
me,
sometimes you do need.
yeah, sometimes you do need, or I'm going to need this down the road because my contracts that I'm holding out for round 3 needs that thing, and maybe I'll prepare for that with this action that's really juicy now. So
Yeah, the game has a really nice ebb and flow of getting stuff and spending stuff and getting stuff, and hopefully, like when you complete a contract, you can combo that into some extra stuff. You can get to do something else, and you're just looking to synergize all your stuff in this game, and it just feels good.
yeah,
I love anything that lets you complete your task by not taking the most obvious route. And there's a lot of like really wobbly, like cobbling together and dismantling in this game, and taking little things from other places to spend on your contracts and stuff. I would call that wobble. Like I love to wobble. The more you can wobble in a game, the better. I think. I mean, like we don't just want like beige mask the game, or you just get it's like that you could just get Play-Doh if you really wanted, but like a fair amount of wobble. I want some elasticity in the choices I make, and this game seems to have a ton of that.
yeah.
Because of the glue and the blocks and the buzz saws and the
It
stuff like
lets
that.
you it lets you find a small amount of what you need through another avenue than taking the actual action that you can get it from.
Yeah, especially from a bonus
A
or
bonus,
something.
yeah.
Like you might not need to buy glue because you can take that token and get a glue.
Or you have a production on one of your guys that gets you a glue, or you have a guy that lets you sell or use saws as glue, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and
right?
what's awesome about that is then you never need to maybe even take that action, which is cool.
And
or-
then it sits at the back of the board because the other person you're playing with isn't taking it.
and it
you
gets
can,
better,
yeah.
and then you can lantern it to take
into
the
it-
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to talk about some of the actions. I mean, it's really cool. You can like plant trees, and you can upgrade that part of your board so you can plant every color tree, and then those just grow every round. So, like today, I did a strategy where I was just planting a bunch of dice. So I never bought dice. I think I never bought a single dice using the buy the dice action. I did buy a dice once. There's an action where you sell a dice and then you can buy a 6. I did that.
We got a lot of dice from the bonuses on the where you turn the
Yeah.
on the rondel, and that's great.
Yeah, and it was more this. I've played this game at 2 a couple of times now, and the wheel felt a lot more dynamic. I always thought the wheel felt cooler at a higher player count, but it was just as good at 2 today. I think just the way we were playing, and maybe it's because we've both played it a couple times at this point.
The cool thing about the wheel for me is not only I need to take this action, but if I take it, I push, because you can take the same action up to, was it 4 times? So for the 4 quadrants, you could you could take the same action 4 times, and that basically makes all the other actions that everybody else is taking better. And it's a very interesting thought to be like, I can now upgrade my workshop, but that means that next time Rob takes an action, he's going to get 2 points and another dice and all that other stuff. And is it worth it knowing that after he takes that action, I'll be getting those bonuses too, and running ourselves out of not being able to take the action because you can't push it past, you can't overlap an action into like a 5th quadrant, I guess, if that makes sense. So it's very compelling.
Yeah, the rule book is really good. The art's great. I mean, I had another pro along those lines. The playtime on the box is accurate. This game is a banger at 2. I mean,
For sure.
you can play this game in under an hour with 2 players, and that feels good. If you can play like this chunky of a game in under an hour with 2 players, is great. With 4 players, you're still looking around the 2-hour time frame. To slip into a minor, maybe con for some people, since you can wombo, combo, wobble, all that stuff. There's the nuggets. You could AP this game pretty hard, I think, depending on the player. Haven't really experienced that yet too much.
I had a little bit of tonight.
The biggest part for me is, for the most part, depending on what they're doing, you can kind of do your action while they're over there cutting wood, gluing wood, like doing all their stuff. Sometimes you can't because like if they're gonna do a lantern thing, but normally while they're doing all their riff-raff, jam, you can do your stuff.
You know what's interesting is like most Suchi games are kind of like that too.
Well, Underwater Cities, like we play Underwater Cities so fast. I remember when that came out, that people were like 4 hours, blah 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 blah, and we played it in 2 with a teach, and that's just the way we play games, though, right? And it's
We should rank our Suchis at the end of this, by the way.
For sure. Yeah, and once
the notable Suchis.
Well, I was just gonna rank the most recent
Or
5.
the Delicious Games Suchis.
Delicious and the last couple CGEs, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because once someone takes their action and moves the token, even if you spend lanterns, there's no way to move the token again. So
That's true.
even if you're waiting, you still know exactly what.
Unless they're taking something off the board.
Right. But you know what actions are available to you and all
Yeah.
that other stuff. It makes it really
It's
good.
definitely a game where you can. Well, I like games as long as your group doesn't mind, where you can take your turn while someone is doing all their upkeep from their turn,
Yep.
because sometimes there's a lot.
Yeah. I will say I think both of us did it in this game. Sometimes you fulfill your contracts before you take your action.
Which you can do.
Yeah, and for me that helps out because then I know how many dice I have left.
Yep.
Instead of being like, oh, I think I'm going to have a green 1 left, but then you don't actually have it because you had to spend it, and then you're like, oh, well, I should have waited to take my action and just fulfill this contract right away.
Right.
So,
I know we've just been gushing all over. I got one more pro before we move on. And you guys can give any more pros you've got. But for my last one, I think they dropped a roll and write version of this game for free, print and play.
It's sick too.
On BG. It's like, I think it's like a lighter version of Woodcraft, where if you had somebody that maybe you weren't sure you wanted to teach them Woodcraft right off the bat, you could just teach them the roll and write, and then once they understood how you cut dice and do glue, like once they played like the dice manipulation part of the game, you'd be like, okay, let's play real Woodcraft now, and it would be like pretty seamless to move into it, I think.
yeah.
They need to come out with a second printing of the rule book because it's not really great. There's some translation issues, but it's really good. And if they came out and if they printed a version of it, I'd probably just buy it.
100%.
But I print and played it, and like laminated and stuff, and it looks good.
I do
very
that
fun.
with like teaching my friends how to play 18xx games. I just take out all the trains and all the stocks. And we just do all the other stuff.
Just build rails.
Excellent.
No, the rails aren't there either. Because trains, I mean, if there's no trains, you know.
I mean, you can still build rails.
You just
without
look
trains.
at the board.
Any other pros from anybody else?
I like making like a flute for a rat and like all that
That-
goofy little
Oh
jazz.
yeah, we didn't really
Yeah.
talk about like the art. It's kind of got some meta art
Yeah.
too.
But like the helpers are fun.
Yeah.
The stuff you're building is like, you're building like cute little like wooden spoons and bowls and outhouses. And
Rob built a bee. What are they?
An apiary.
Yeah.
yeah.
There was a
A lot
table.
of musical instruments.
There was a wooden table with Praga Kaput Regni set up on it.
Yes, that's very cool. But yeah, I mean that's just neat.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know who did the art, but it's kind of that fun kind of vibe of Clemens Franz, where like all the people are kind of like cute little, fun little thematic dudes with like dopey little faces and smiles. I don't know what it is about like great board game artists, but like they're always so kind of weird at drawing people.
Drawing people is just hard, man. It's just it's
I
just hard.
crush at it. I'm actually probably the greatest artist known to man.
The artist is Mikhail Pikal.
Good job on this art, Mickle Pickle.
And and just the little details. Yeah, like on the cover,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Look at that dude.
amazing. Yeah. On the cover, there's somebody shaping a dice, and they have a delicious game test too. Like it's just all those things are really cool.
Yeah, and there's a badger reading a book and like the ant is helping to do the woodcraft. It's just a good. You want me to know more about Michael Pickle?
His first card game was called Trample Beasts.
Oh, so he's also a designer.
I guess.
Whoa. Trample beasts.
All right, right on. So, do you want to move into prawns cons? Anybody got a con?
I've played this game once. I don't remember thinking anything was sucky about it. So I may just kind of stay out of this one.
To me, it's the AP potential. Really, is about it.
The setup is a little bit like
you get a lot of cards.
Yeah.
Like, so for a game where you don't know if you're coming into the game and don't know what you're doing, you have a lot of setup choices.
Mhm.
It's like you get 5 level 1 orders and you got to pick 2, and you get 3 workers and you got to pick 1, and then you get 2 hazelnut orders, which, I mean, you just get those. So you have some decision making, and then you have to spend your money off the beginning to do that. Really,
It takes a little bit of time to get it all out and set up, but like, I don't know.
I don't think the setup's that bad.
I mean, dude, I am pulling straws at these cons here. So yeah.
I mean, I can't think of a lot. I mean, some people don't like the end game cards. So you get these 2 hazelnut card orders at the beginning, and their reward is either to get 5 points
even
and
talk
5
about this.
blueberries, or it is to put your cube out on an end game card for points. There are always one more than the number of players, and if you get that card, no one else can score that card unless they also put a cube on it in the same round as you. The odds of 2 people completing the thing that lets them grab one in the same round, it's not that great. I think in my few games I've seen played, I think it has happened. It's funny. It hasn't happened in any of the games I've played except for one game. It happened like 2 or 3 times.
You have to. It's happened a couple times for me. You got to pay attention to it a little bit. And
You do. Like, if you see someone doing it, then they might try to grab it.
it's usually after production. You put the card out, and you can kind of guess when someone's putting out and then
Yeah.
preparing for it, and they're gonna do it their first action.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to know either I'm going to do it this round or that's
Yeah, I
it.
mean, that doesn't really bother me. If I miss out on one, I missed out on it. I'll get points somewhere else. Some people have suggested a variant where it's just like a friendly thing where you can put cubes
I'm
on
out.
it. That doesn't really
Yeah.
bother me, though. I'm trying to think of anything else.
This game's tight. It's,
Yeah.
It's good.
So, I mean, my final thoughts on Woodcraft. This game's great. It's great at 2. It might be best at 2 or 3. 4 ups that AP chance, and the game just goes a little bit longer. But everything's great about this game. It's got some good replayability. Trying to figure out the puzzle every time is not going to be the same, and there's different ways to crack the nut. The roll and write just enhances the experience for me. If I want to play Woodcraft in 30 minutes instead of 60 minutes, then I'll play it. The roll and write.
It changed Rob's mind on roll and rights. Now he said, on the record, Cam, on the record, and feel free to say this on the podcast, I will play any roll and write you want to play, especially turn-based on Board Game Arena.
Whoa.
I said, wow, that's crazy, dude. You anytime? And he said, yeah. I said, wow, that's crazy. And he said, yeah, dude, I'm serious. Say it on the podcast for me.
Was I roofied?
Not by me. I don't know what's going on in your Diet Pepsi around here.
So for me, I guess let's talk about the Board Boys rating scale, since I didn't hit that yet. It's a 3 Boeing rating scale based off of the illustrious Steve Walsh. Go check him out if you haven't.
Google Steve Walsh. Ain't no stopping us now.
Yeah.
Or if you're feeling extra spicy, Steve Walsh, I found 11.
So Boing 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 is the best. 3 Boings is the best. 0 Boings is the worst. One time only. You can give your 4 Boing game, which if you listen to our latest bonus episode, Bo cranked that one out.
Yeah.
He can never do another one until the next bonus episode where he probably will do it
Has
again.
he done more than one 4 boing?
I'm pretty sure he has. I'm pretty sure he 4-boing.
He wants to 4 Boing a lot of things.
The first bonus episode, I think he hit a 4-boing too.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
He's frivolous with his ratings.
I love it.
So a 0 Boing game in the world of Woodcraft, I think, is you have termites, all the termites. and they ate your little flute before you gave it to your mouse, and the mouse is really sad. It's kind of like the opposite of the if you gave the mouse a cookie book. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because then he wants all the other things. And a 3-boing game is you're whittling on the deck with your grandpa, and you're making some good memories, and then you give that mouse that flute.
And the mouse plays Rhythm is going to get you on it.
That's what he's gonna play on it.
Yeah, I can't even do a little mouse flute version of it.
All right, I'm not gonna lie. This game's a hard 3 boing for me. It's a 10. I just looked it up on BGG. I gave it a 10. I can find no fault with this game. It's so good. It's on the heavier side, maybe, as it says, but like I feel like I haven't tried it yet, but I think I can play this with my wife, and I think she'll get it and enjoy it.
I think if you hit the rolling right first, and then
Yeah,
and then
I
this
think
one,
so too.
yeah.
I mean, she doesn't mind playing heavy games. She just hates learning games and not feeling like she knows what to do. And I feel like this one presents itself easy enough as far as like I'm trying to make these dice match those numbers and
Yep.
do these things.
Yeah.
So
I have a contract. I got to do it. I'm just going to take action until I fulfill that contract, and then I'm going to go do an action to get more. And
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah. I mean, I will echo everything you just said. This game is fantastic. It is very hard 3-boing for me.
I mean, 3 out of 4 board boys own it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's
I'll probably buy it. I've bought all the other Suchi stuff except for
yeah, it's very good. The solo's good. It's basically just flip a card and it moves the action wheel, and it'll take bonuses from reputation, and it'll take away some of the end game scoring cards if you don't get to them in time. But you know exactly when that's happening.
Yeah, Suchi makes the best solos
Yeah.
because they're almost always just like play the normal game
Yep.
and beat the score.
Yep.
Like Underwater Cities is exactly that. Like there's less than a page of rules for all his solo games, versions of his games, and that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't say enough good things about this game. Cam?
I have played it one time. It would be hard for me to say I liked it better. Well, we'll get to our favorite Suchis. This game could very well hit a higher score for me or a lower score, but as it stands right now, from one play, 2.5. So do you guys want to talk about your favorite Suchi games? Or like your ranking of the Suchi games? I'm going Last Will to today.
Okay.
I think that's 7 games, right? Last Will, Prodigal's Club, Pulsar 20 whatever it is, 2089, 37, 69 420. Is it 2849?
Yes.
Yeah, 2849.
Underwater Cities, Praga Kaput Regni, Messina 1368.
1347.
I know. And Woodcraft 1942.
All right. Why don't
Okay.
you start?
There's no number in that game.
I know. Here is my off the cuff rating from least favorite to favorite. Least favorite, Messina. Next on the list, Last Will and or Prodigal's Club. Next on the list, Pulsar 2849. Next on the list, Prodigal's Club and Last Will if you put them together. Next on the list, I'm just joking. I actually like Pulsar better than that still too. Next on the list is currently Woodcraft. Next on the list is currently Praga Kaput Regni. And the big bad top dog for me is Underwater Cities. I can't imagine I'd ever like Woodcraft more than that. But I might like Woodcraft as much. Underwater Cities it's surprising
It's
it's
tight.
not in my top 5 games.
It's tight.
It's very close.
It's in my top 5 for sure.
I love Underwater Cities. So good. What about you?
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to smash Last Will and Prodigal Clubs together because that's the only way I've ever played it. That would be at the I'm going to go I don't know. That and Pulsar are probably sitting pretty close at the bottom for me. Then it would be Messina, then Praga, than Woodcraft and Underwater Cities.
They're pretty close. They're pretty similar.
Yeah, and like I think there's a gap in so it's Underwater Cities and Woodcraft gap, and then like Messina and Praga, and then a gap, and then the other two.
I don't know. Like, there is a big gap between Underwater Cities and all the other games for me because I love Underwater Cities, but I think Woodcraft could supplant Praga as my second favorite. I just need to play it a couple more times.
All right, here I go. I'll be pretty curious because we are doing the look back this time on Messina. So I'm curious what I gave it last time as a rating. You can surprise me with it. But for me, if I'm going by my straight up BGG ratings that I've given the games thus far, Woodcraft would be my number 1. Underwater Cities would be my number 2. Then Praga, although those are tied with the same rating. And then I would say Pulsar, Prodigal's Club, Last Will, and Messina. Now, to be fair, these ratings are 10, 9.5, 9.5, 9, 9, 9, 8. So they're all a 2 boing plus game. Most of them are 2.5 or 3. So my worst Suchi game is still a great game.
Yeah.
But if I had to rank them, that's probably where they would.
You think so?
And I think they would shake out the same. Yeah. I mean,
even
Woodcraft
with,
is the only one I've given it a 10. So
Even with Messina, the games you've been playing online with Messina?
I mean, like, I think I like Messina. Messina might go up for me.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing it. It's on Yukata DE now. I really like Messina. I think I like it more the more I'm playing it. And I guess let's just jump into the look back if that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that. Do you want to hit us with the song, Cam?
Yes. And it goes a little something like this. Baby, turn around. I want to see that sexy board game go. Board boys bump up the charts all the time for the board boys because we talked about it. Yeah.
All right, here on the Board Boys, we look back about a year in the past to the game we reviewed to see if it has gone up in the rating or down in the rating. So if it's gone up, it's a bump. It's gone down, it's a dump. So we were kind of talking about it, but a year ago we played Messina 1347.
Jimmy Messina.
Yep. So Messina was a 7.8 for 1949 in the ratings. So it is now a 7.7.
Uh-oh. That
Cam?
doesn't bode well.
I mean, it's a bump.
Yeah, it's for sure a bump.
Yeah, it was a bump. Up to 908. So not as high as I thought it was going to be. But
Sounds like I'm pretty vindicated on having that in the lower end of my Suchi games.
yeah, I mean, I think it is on the lower end of the Suchi games, but it's
it
still
it
good.
definitely didn't hit the States very hard
Right.
for sure.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people are talking about it.
So, Rob, you gave it a 2.5.
Ooh, so I gave it the higher end of my
Yeah.
of my 8 rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Cam, what do you think you gave?
I think during that I gave it a 2.
You gave it a 2.5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Suchi's a good designer.
He's so good.
This game hasn't grabbed me. I've played it a bunch of times. It's something about it is just it's a little Lacerda-y to me where I love it ideally, but like when people are like, "You want to play Messina?" I'm like, "Eh."
We're playing it right now online. It's not as you cannot eke out the little things you can in like
Yeah.
Underwater Cities and stuff like that. Figuring out a way to get another $1 to be able to do the thing,
Mhm.
you cannot do that in Messina. It's
But-
very
Like maybe I'm not being fair to Messina because
Yeah.
the idea of making little plastic dome cities underwater
mhm.
is like I try not to get too zhuzhed on themes, but like underwater cities just it speaks to me, the idea. Getting cancer from rats or whatever, that sounds sucky.
Yeah, but you're just saving the city of Messina.
You're dropping fire grenades on those rats. That is actually really
which
cool.
I just realized is
and then the dudes with the bling chains. Oh my gosh, Messina is cool.
which I just realized is in Sicily. When I did some Sicily research we just were watching The White Lotus season 2, and it's about this hotel, and both seasons were at different hotels. Like the first season's Hawaii, and this one was in Sicily. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go look about Sicily, and the first thing I saw was Messina. It's like the
Nice.
coastal city right there. and I was like, oh.
1347. Dude, the green dude wearing the green cape spun around, and when he turned back around, he had a big shield bling, just like the dude in the game.
Yeah, man.
The bling in that game is out of this world, dude.
So blingy.
All right, I got a couple things for Messina here. If you would like to give us feedback on our bumper dump, you can go to our board game Geek Guild. You can find that from our website. So Chris Yee,
Or DM me on Discord.
there you go. Cam will give it directly to you.
But you have to join our Discord.
He says it's 2 blings for him. Our buddy Chris Yee says doesn't quite rise the ranks at 2 and 3, but a solid game. And then Daniel Simmons, who I think is a new poster for these bump and dumps.
Yeah, Daniel Simmons.
Yeah, so he said he got this game a few weeks ago, 2.5 blings. Wants to keep revisiting it and exploring new strategies. So that's awesome.
You know what I want to do is I want to drop fire grenades on cancer rats.
Yeah, I mean
Get the most blinged out boys. You know, I
you get
will
the double
say,
fire and you start blasting everybody around you.
in other times we've played this, I've always tried to avoid taking in sick people, but this time
No,
I've
bro.
actually built some things, and having a sick, cancered out dude making me fire before he goes to be healthy again and get blinged
Yeah,
out
man.
is actually really a fun part of the game.
Yeah, you definitely want to put those quarantine people to work.
I just don't think I think I've played in such a way in other plays of Messina where I take people who aren't quarantined and I slam out like
I mean,
naked fire.
it lets you use them
naked rats.
earlier, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a couple ways to skin that rat. I'm really
There's
enjoying,
a couple ways to skin the rat. That's funny, Rob.
I'm enjoying exploring that game some more on yukata.tv.
Top 3 rat games.
First rat.
Yep.
Wait, hang on. Is First Rat also Vladimir Succi?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's CGE, right?
No, it's
First rat is
Luciani, maybe.
no, it's Virginia Gili and someone
Oh.
else. They're Italian.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Quaxaquedlinburg, First Rat,
Oh,
Messina
that's-
1347.
That's got a rat in there too.
Notre Dame also has rats too, right?
Yeah.
It's
So does Bruges.
Yeah.
I think, I really think that they like to use rats as attacking things or bad things.
Well, I mean, in rats are good in Quaxaquedlinburg and First Rat.
I know, but you know that. Why can't I think of his name? Who does Castle of Burgundy?
Stefan Feld.
Yes, thank you. Stefan Feld loves to demonize the rats and make them do bad things in his games.
Really? I guess Bruges and Notre Dame, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his new one. No, I'm just kidding.
Not
bad-
Messina, Marrakesh.
Yeah, Marrakesh.
Marrakesh is tight. When's that game coming out?
So it was supposed to be here by now, I think. It's in a warehouse. They've shipped all the normal ones. I'm getting the deluxe-y one. But I think the
Demonio.
I think the company Funnigan Games is like the distribution.
oh yeah.
And I think Funnigan Games is like going out of business.
Yep.
Like I think they've had a hard I think they've from what I'm reading they've had a hard time like getting employees and things. So I think they've been sending things out real slow.
A game company has been having a hard time getting employees. I'll work for you, game company.
They're not a game company.
they're
they're-
shipping and
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
shipping,
were
yeah,
like an online
distribution.
game store that
Never mind.
changed more into like distribution.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
You don't want to go there and pack boxes?
That doesn't sound like my ideal Tuesday.
All right, Rob, do you want to give us the rundown and the stats here?
All right, thanks for listening to another episode of the Board Boys podcast, season 12, episode 1. We'll see what we figure out for the episode numbers this season. Thanks for all the feedback on that.
We're gonna do 24 episodes,
Well,
just like Kiefer
just like
Sutherland.
yes.
I never saw the
I-
show. Should I watch it? Was it good?
Oh yeah, it's
Rob just arched his eyebrows
It's-
so hard
it's-
they almost flew off his face.
it's real good, and you should really put that music in here somewhere now.
The 24 music.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be hard pressed not to do some weird pop gem from the 80s, but
Or at least the sound. There's a 24 sound with the ticking clock.
like the toot toot.
Yeah.
Maybe I will.
I don't remember what I was talking about now. But speaking of whatever I was just talking about, oh man, you got in my jam, Cam.
Sorry for getting on your jam. We're talking about I think Patreon. right?
Yeah, I think so.
Season numbers, good talking about it. Cam said 24. You arched your eyebrows so hard that you're like, you haven't seen a 24? And I was like, I saw one of them, the first one. I saw one.
That's one. Yeah.
Do you know that the president of that? Let me just jump in here. You know the president from 24 is also the Allstate insurance guy.
Oh, what's that guy's name?
This.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's probably waiting for Morgan Freeman to die. That guy.
Yeah, he wants to be the new.
He wants to be the new Mofree.
So if you like what we're doing here, we have a few Patreon members that I'd like to thank. Now, we did not do it last episode. I apologize. It was probably late, and we don't really run off a script here, if you can't tell. So we do have
everything I say is scripted.
We do have a new patron, Shifty Teeth.
Yo,
and he joined the Discord, which that's what I wanted to talk about earlier. Come to the Discord. Thanks for giving us feedback on our episodes. I love that. I love when we drop an episode now, and I know people are listening to it because instantly it's like there's just chatter about the sode, and it makes me feel really good, and it's cool to interact out there.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Keep it up.
and we have a good board game arena community now too.
Yeah. Keep it up in there in the Discord.
Good meme community.
Having so much fun.
Good Marvel Snap community run pretty much by Dave and Rob.
Yeah, I mean, Dave and Robin, we're converting Jeremy.
There you
Dude,
go.
Marvel Snap is fun. I'm still playing it after 2 weeks, so
Yo,
Love it.
we'll see how long I play after this month.
Rob's like a 3-hour app guy.
What do you mean?
Like you play an app for 3 hours and you're done.
Oh, I played this game way longer than
That's what I'm
3
saying. Is
hours.
so this is a banger for you as well as like Through the Ages and I don't know, maybe there's one other app you've.
Yeah, I mean, I don't board game apps for me don't really last for some reason. I don't. But we're playing a game. Side tangent. We're playing a game on BGA of Through the Ages. It sucks.
I like it.
It's so much better in the app.
It is much better on the
Through
app.
the Ages is so much better. I'm trying to figure out how to do things. The app counts things for you better. You can actually just go back one step in the app. You have to undo your whole turn on BGA. And it's all spread out. I mean, sorry BGA. I know you had it first, but leave this to the CGE app. It rocks. So anyway, if you want to play on the BGA or the CGE Through the Ages app, hit me up. On the Discord, which you can find from our website, theboardboys.com. See how I did that? Theboardboys.com has all the stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm trying to get our Instagram numbers up. We've been stuck hovering just under 3,000 followers for so long. I get it up, and then people drop off, and then I get OP Streamer wanting me to share it on their community, and I'm like, get out of here, spam bots.
Do you want me to start sharing feet pics?
I mean, whatever makes it up, man.
Who's got the best feet in Board Boys? Because I don't. My feet are
It's probably
wretched.
Jake. Jake for sure.
Oh yeah, he's putting mustache wax on his feet.
Oh, like the toe
I
hair.
mean, he just takes care of himself. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started. So my feet have been so bad for so many years that I made a resolution to start taking really good care of them, and I'm doing great at it. I've learned I'm really good at sticking to habits that aren't that terrible. This year I've decided I'm gonna get under 200 pounds.
Hell
And
yeah.
I'm a tall man, but I'm too fat. I'm weighing 235 right now. It's insane. Here's the thing though. Losing weight is the least fun thing you can do.
It
True.
definitely is.
You know what's a fun thing you can do?
What's that?
Doing the things that make you gain weight.
Yeah, eating is
Yeah.
fun.
Exactly. So we'll see how I've resolved it so much that I've decided that I'm going to buy myself whatever I want when I do it.
Yeah, I think I've been on a fitness journey the last couple of years, and I've come to realize that weight is not nearly as important as just overall fitness. And I got under 200, but then I started losing strength and other things. Because I'm also, I'm trying to build strength and, muscles and, those kind of things. And there's a delicate balance. You can't cut weight and get stronger. Those things are diametrically opposed.
Well, I'm not trying to get stronger. I'm already the strongest
So-
guy in the world. So
But, I know that. But what I'm saying is you can be a fit, 210-pound guy, or you could be an out-of-shape 210-pound 210-pound guy. I mean, obviously, lowering your weight is good as well, but having overall health, wellness, fitness, being able to climb stairs and, not run
Well,
out of breath.
I was born with the same frame as Kirsting, and so if I get down to 200, I'll still be 20 pounds overweight. So
Yeah,
it's a starting point.
It's just, for me, 200 has always been that magical number that, like, it is so hard for me to go any lower than that. And so much to the point that I just want to give up, and I don't really care. Like, that's too light for me anyway.
Yeah, you don't want to blow over in a breeze or a small whirlwind.
No, definitely don't. So anyway, theboardboys.com. Check it out. All the links are on there. The Patreon, to get back to that, the Discord link is out there. I'm trying to work on updating some of the other things as well. I know I mentioned Shifty Teeth. Thank you for becoming a patron. Our other patrons that have been here for a little while longer, David Dugas, Jeff Gray, Andre Bosch, Jeremy Toman, Braden Dowdy, BJ from Board Game Gumbo,
Yeah.
Rob Cooper, and Richard Lane. Thanks, everybody. All you people hanging out in the Discord, having tons of fun. Played games with a lot of you. They're trying to get us to come to Louisiana.
100%.
I think we
go.
should.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. 2023 road trip to Louisiana.
Road trip. All right. Well, until next time, we hope you like board games.
This is Steve Walsh reminding you that listen, very soon there will be a party for the world.
We just G's from the evil side. Pulling on others like these. So recognize the realness, feel it. Partner, what you think? Life passed in front of your eyes. Like homie passing. What do you think? It's real over this way. Where we G. OJ didn't do it. Young pride and evil scheme. Bring up the greens, keeping a G like me. No. Trap with ammo like Rambo. Lakes on the poster, and it's supposed to be a reward for the evil dream team. Seen on the screen, mugging me. Keeping your dome and focus with the beam and the scene. Fools get offended, splendid. Busters get high, be like a suicide and end it. But we gonna account is full of malice, do a dime mentality. Quick as a jet, leaving you wet, step into reality. Knocking on wood, hard as I could with this Nina Ross. Evil side, murder squad, killing them off, leaving them tossed.
It's all about the G's living good. It's all about the G's in the hood. It's all about the G's living good. It's all about the G's in the hood.
Now G's that sick, they all say we nuts. He and that sick pull out to piece, say it, then we bust. So duck, run, all you busters and make way. A female to your gangsters, they kill up from the bay. Don't let my squad catch you slipping, pimping. My homies don't play when we slay. Representing with the heat, 40 deep when we creep. How you living, getting paid, let you ride. How you feeling, cause when the night goes pop, but 100 does, we pull the trigger. Gripster, I got your back, ain't that straight. And if you run up to us G's, for sure we'll peel your cat back. We on the mission. 187 with the man. Murder squad, extra steam. Female G's ready to blast. No, can't nobody fade us. Steady ballin' hustler. Can't hate us cause we players. Rippin' all that talk, say that drama at ease. Knock on wood, y'all, cause it's all about us G's.
Knock on wood. It's all about the G's living good. Knock on wood. It's all about the G's in the hood. Knock on wood. It's all about the G's living good. Knock on wood. It's all about the G's in the hood.
Now what would you do if I knocked on your front door with a fofo? You open it up and I let the trigger go. Blah, you're dead at the sound of a click, playing a role of a trick. Got you dumped off in a 6 feet ditch. Kiss you bye-bye, brother, I tried to step to me, see. You don't wanna see the DRE come mobbing with the BG. Blew down and we drew down on your crew. Ha ha, I caught you slipping now. What would
Now
you
if
do?
I be G and he be G and he wanna be just like me. Now does that make me OG? And I guess that make G be G. But CG, we all be out here strapping, packing max when friends oughta be out here cracking, helping to stack ends. Black men been struggling for too long. When is it stopping? I know the hood's all good, but still on wood I'm knocking. But damn, I feel as though I'm about to fall apart. See banging's in my soul, but survival's in my heart.
Knock on wood. It's all about the G's living good. Knock on wood. It's all about the G's in the hood. Knock on wood. It's all about the G's living good. Knock on wood. It's all about the G's in the hood.
I'm lyrically raw, second to no crumb. Evil, I'm dumping on bricks, on habits and rolls, so giving me deals on body bags. You busters want some. My thoughts are cemetery is kinda scary when I'm ripping, I'm grabbing a nine from the spine. I'm checking the chain, popping a clip. I'm slugs, G's, recognize these. LOCs, spinning like D's, doubling up like keys.
I'm climbing and climbing, but don't get mine. I'm dumping on any click. Hit a stick, what kind of stick? Love the stick, let it burn quick. Put it up, come to the rescue. Always running your trap with the strap. I'm ready to test you. From the SDC to the CPT, my click gon' get they bang on. YCOG rolling for these NAC, we slang on. One time swoop, they making it hot in the hood, but they didn't sweat the warrant, so I knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
It's all about the G's living good.